Hey guys, Bucci Boy again. Let's get right into the review. This is of course the Ruger P95. This is the latest, newest gun that I picked up that's going to serve double duty for me. Basically it's going to be a home defense gun as well as a carry gun. Yes, I'm going to carry the gun. I know it weighs 27 ounces. I've carried a lot heavier, a lot bigger, a lot bulkier guns than this without a problem, so a 27 ounce gun really is nothing for me, and it shouldn't be for you as well. The gun is lighter, feels lighter than it actually is too. It doesn't feel like 27 ounces. It is a little top heavy due to the polymer frame and the all stainless slide barrel guide rod springs, internals, but that does help with recoil. First off, the gun is safe, of course. Check this many times before even turning the camera on. Okay, I have a couple snap caps up here that I'll be using to demonstrate the functionality of the gun. But it is safe and ready for the review. So the gun's made in the USA by Ruger. It's a 15+1 capacity. They give you 2 magazines when you buy the gun, and they give you some people call this a pussy loader. It's just to help you with these springs. These springs are really stiff when you get them new, so you may need to use this loader to help get all 15 in there. You can see how it just shuts out. That's really stiff. But anyways, so you get 2 mags, the loader, of course the gun, and a hard plastic case, which I'm not really fond of the hard plastic cases, but I prefer the ones with the foam in them. But it's a decent case. It's molded right to the gun. There's room for 3 magazines in it. You store 1 magazine in the gun. There's a cutout for 2 magazines on the side, and a little square for your speed loader, or pussy loader, whatever you want to call it. I bought this gun for $329, I think. Excellent price on this gun. I really enjoyed shooting this. I didn't have any problems with the gun. Shot great. It was accurate. Barely any recoil. I mean, it's only 9mm to begin with, but the recoil was very minimal. Like I said, it is a little top heavy, but it balances itself out. So it's double action, single action. You have a safety decocker right here. You push down, drops the hammer, blocks the firing pin, and it's on safe now. I don't say that it has a safety and a decocker. I say that it has a safety decocker, because you can't do one without doing the other with this gun. If you put it on safe, it decocks it. If you want to decock it, you're on safe. So you can't just decock it and then put it on safe separately, or something like other guns, like my Taurus PT92, for example. It has a 3-position. Up is fire, or up is safe, straight ahead is fire, and down is decock. On this gun, when you decock, it's on safety. So if you want to carry the gun decocked like this, remember that you are on safety, and the gun will not fire. The trigger, you can pull the trigger all day long. You're still on safety. So if you are going to carry double action your first shot, make sure you remember you're still on safe. The gun has fixed 3-dot sights, just basic white dots. Pretty good sight picture. I said it does weigh 27 ounces, but trust me, it is lighter than it looks, or it feels lighter than it looks. Polymer frame. It's actually a long strand fiber reinforced polymer is what Ruger calls it. Picatinny rail here. Only one indexing notch on the rail there. I would have liked to seen 2 or more, but you know, this gun was $329, which is an excellent price. I've heard of them as cheap as $289, $299. If you, like I said before, if you get the blued slide instead of the stainless, you're gonna save $20-30 right there. So, but I love the duotone look. The length of the gun 7 1/4. The height 5 3/4, and the width just a little under 1 1/4, 1.20 to be exact, at its widest point. And speaking of the widest point of this gun, I bought this gun sight unseen. Okay, just through reviews that I seen on YouTube and pictures and you know, so forth. I never actually held the gun before I bought it. So an interesting thing to know is that the left side of the gun does stick out more than the right side, meaning it's not completely parallel, and that's due to the slide stop pin. Let me try and put something lighter behind it so you can see a little better. See how the left side sort of veers out here and then goes back in? I did not know that at the time. You know, I thought the gun was completely parallel from front to back. The safety decocker is a little bit more pronounced on the left side of the gun. On the right side, you can see it's sort of a slimmer profile here, a lot less bulkiness to it. On this side, it sticks out more. And the slide stop pin, there's a good shot. You can see how the frame comes out a little bit more on the left side. I'd say a good 1/4 inch, including the slide stop pin or lever or whatever you want to call it. So just something to be aware of. The gun isn't completely symmetrical, but actually for me, being left-handed, I carry this on my left hip, so I get the nice smooth side against my body, whereas the right-handers, you're gonna get all this shit poking into you. Still a great gun though. I don't have any complaints about the gun really. It does have a firing pin block. The only way that this gun's gonna fire is if the trigger's pulled the whole way to the back. Okay? It has a push style magazine release, which is ambidextrous right there, and also on this side. It's not like the standard guns where you push it in, you slide it forward towards the muzzle of the gun to release the magazine. Okay? Watch my thumb closely. Sliding forward. Just hit the tripod too. Nice. Pretty decent magazines. Just standard stainless steel, plastic base plates. 15+1. Unless you're in California. You can get up to 32 round magazines for this gun. So you have a lot of options. You have everything between 10 and 32 rounds. 15 rounds, 20 rounds, whatever. What else? I got a paper here. I have a lot of stuff to go through. I'm trying to remember everything. Aftermarket parts, any kind of light laser you want to put on, be aware that because it only does have that one indexing point, you may have trouble if you have a little bit longer of a laser or light. It may have to stick out a little bit from the muzzle. Just be aware of it. You cannot carry this gun condition 1, okay, meaning a round in the chamber and the hammer cocked back, safety on, because if you go to put the safety on, you're going to decock the gun. So you can't carry this condition 1. I carry the gun with 1 in the chamber, decocked in double action, and the safety off. Okay, got my snap caps here. Load a couple up. Okay, so this is how I carry the gun, decocked with the safety off. This double action trigger pull is pretty tough. I would say 10 pounds easy. Okay, single action, not too bad. You have a little bit of play before you get to that release. Very, very good on the single action pull. But that's how I carry it. Carry double action, safety off. I mean, you're not going to accidentally pull the trigger on this in double action. I mean, you got a lot of spring tension there. So it's plenty enough safety. You know, if you're somebody that's new to firearms and you know, you're not too sure about it, trust me, it's plenty enough. And getting back into someone that's maybe a little newer to firearms, maybe even a little bit scared of firearms, this is a very safe gun. Okay, you can load this gun, put the decock on, you can load this gun and chamber around with the safety on and the decock on before you even chamber the round. And when you chamber your round, okay, you see I'm on safety / decock. When you chamber your first round, your hammer's automatically going to drop. Firing pin's going to be cammed out of the way. It's going to be blocked, and the hammer's automatically going to drop by itself. There it is. Okay, you now have a round chambered, you're on safe the whole time, and your hammer decocks automatically. So somebody a little bit weary, it's very safe. Get that out of there. You can, of course, load it and decock it afterwards. Just like that. But it's good to have the option, I guess, especially for someone that's newer to guns, to be able to have that decock and safety on before the round even gets into the chamber. Okay. Very good for on Ruger's part, I think. All kind of aftermarket parts you can get. Lights, lasers, like I said, anything that fits on a Picatinny rail. You can get extended magazines, nickel-plated magazines, internal parts, springs, plenty of different holsters, night sights. Trijicon makes some good night sights for this, as well as another company. I can't think of the name right offhand, but you can get night sights for this gun. These sights are fixed, so if you get those night sights, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to have to go to a gunsmith, because see how the front sight is pinned in? Those pins would have to be driven out. The rear would need this hex screw taken out, and you would have to have your night sights put on that way, unless you know what you're doing, and maybe you do. But it's good that they're available, especially for a $300-400 gun like this. Grips, you're not going to find anything really, because the grip is part of the frame. They're molded in. You're going to have to go with some kind of a sleeve, maybe a Hogue or a Packmare, and just slide it on there. The grip is not bad on the gun. It's a little slick, but it's textured. Would have liked to have seen some kind of nice cross texturing, you know, instead of just straight lines. But it has a good feel to it. I don't think it's going to slip out of my hands anytime soon, so, you know, whatever. But you can get the slip-on grips if you want. Does not have a magazine disconnect, meaning you can fire without the magazine if you have a round chambered. There's nothing to stop you from shooting that round. I always think of that as a plus. I hate magazine disconnect safeties, especially if you're going to use this as a personal protection gun, carry gun. Like I said in my other videos, you never know what kind of problem you can run into. Say you're only carrying one magazine, and there's a catastrophic failure with it or something, or maybe you just accidentally, you know, with all your adrenaline going, accidentally hit that mag release and drop it. Well, you can still fire the gun if you have your round chambered. So I look at that as a plus. Let me flip my paper over. So I am going to use this for home defense, carry. I don't think it's too big to carry. You know, I have pretty normal sized hands, so like I said, I've carried plenty of bigger, heavier guns than this, so I haven't had a problem with it yet. It does have a captive recoil spring on a steel guide rod. I'll take the gun down here in a minute. Takedown is pretty easy. It has sort of a 1911 style takedown. Basically, you just spring is really stiff. Wow. You lock your slide back inside. Try and put something light underneath it so you can see. See that little tab there? You push that down. Okay, so it's pushed down now. And basically, you release your slide slowly. And there's a indexing point on the slide. You can see that line right there behind the slide stop lever. And this little pink dot here, that's just a sticker, okay? Take that off. I left it on for the video because it's going to be hard to see. But there is a line on the frame of the gun as well that lines up with the line on the slide. So once you've flipped that tab down in the chamber, you bring this line back, line it up with the line on the frame. On the other side, you can see that's where the slide stop pin comes through. You're just going to push it out from that side. And it's a lot easier than I'm showing it right now. It's hard to work around the camera. The gun's really slippery too, full of oil. The springs are still really tight. So you pop out your slide stop pin, and slide comes right off. Here's your frame. The slide does ride on polymer too. I will mention that. There's no steel rails on the gun. The slide rides on the rails there, on the rear, and also inside. You can see the rails there. Not a big deal. I don't, see any problems with that. Keep the rails greased up or oiled up. I like to use grease on the rails, as you can see. With any kind of gun, I just prefer grease. So keep it greased up or oiled up and you'll be fine. Here's your slide. Take out your guide rod and your springs. There's 2 springs on this guide rod. They're captive. You know, they don't come off. You can take them off, but there's really no need to. The recoil guide rod cams into the barrel. Okay. Here's your barrel. 3.9-inch barrel. When you put your barrel in and your guide rod in, that's how they cam together right there. Of course, when your barrel comes back and tilts down, it locks in right there. Really nice, thick, chunky guide rod and spring assembly. Barrel's cinched, just put it back in, slide it back, put in your guide rod, line it up. Okay. Then make sure that your tab, here's a better look at that tab inside that you have to flip down. Put this underneath it so you can see a little better. Make sure that tab's down before you put the slide back on. Okay? See how it's up? Put it down. You will not get the slide back on if that's up. Okay. Bring your slide back on. Line up your indexing marks over here. And put your slide stop pin back in. Now, once you're in this position, you want to bring that tab back up. You can open the chamber and flip it up with your finger, or the easier thing to do, and this is how Ruger says to do it, just stick an empty mag in, and that pushes that tab right back up. So now you're ready to go. Test it for functionality. Everything works good here. Rack it a couple times, give it a check. There's a little better look at that all steel guide rod. It's a great gun. For the price that you pay, price is going to vary obviously depending on where you live and where you go. I was personally looking at this and the Smith & Wesson Sigma, the SW40VE, because they're right around the same price. But for my money, I like this gun a little bit better. Being left-handed, because the gun's ambidextrous, you know, that benefits me a little bit more. Ambidextrous magazine release. Not to mention, I just like hammer-fired pistols a little bit better than striker-fired, so I picked up the P95, and it's been a great gun. I've had about 200 rounds through it, no problems at all. I am going to do a feed ramp polish on this. The feed ramp isn't bad, but I'm going to get in there with the Dremel, and I'll make a video on that. Real simple to do. Just smooth everything out a little bit. I couldn't recommend this gun anymore, really. To a new shooter, to an experienced shooter, to someone looking for a great home defense gun. This is made in the USA, and I don't think you can go wrong. You get a lot of gun for the money with this Ruger P95. I wish they would make this in a 40, but they don't. 9mm, you are going to get more capacity with that anyway, so it's a great gun. The only thing that it doesn't have really that I wish it did was forward slide serrations. You have them here. I wish I had something up here to grab onto, because I'm always going for the front. That didn't sound right, but but I'm always going for the front. What else doesn't it have? Nothing. It's a great gun. Pick it up. There's your extractor right there. Serial number on the frame. I like it. That's gonna be it, I guess. If I forgot anything, you know, I'll try and add the annotations or whatever. Go ahead and do yourself a favor. If you're considering this, you know, go to the range and see if they have one and maybe test it out. I don't have any problems with it. You know, I'm not a big guy or anything, and I don't have any problems carrying this. Like I said in the beginning of the video, it looks heavier than it feels, but I think it's going to be a great gun. Haven't had problems with it, so we'll see what happens. If anything changes, I'll make another video and let you guys know. I've used up a hell of a lot of time here, and I've still forgotten things to put in the video, but what are you going to do? That's what you get for doing a review in one take, a long review. So that's going to be it, guys. That's the Ruger P95. Go ahead and pick one up for yourself. I highly recommend it. Great for newer shooters. Like I said, the safeties are in place. If you want to chamber that first round with the safety and the decock on, you're perfectly free to do that. You're not going to accidentally pull the trigger in double action and shoot yourself with it. You know, come on. You shouldn't be stupid with a gun anyways. Always keep your finger away from that trigger until you're ready to shoot. Or unless you're making a video like I am. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. I'll talk to you all later.